out here in the heat. My goodness. Maybe in 45 minutes now. Been laying out here, getting some sun. My goodness. Whew. Maybe I'll stay out here for another hour. It's hot. It's hot. There was a moment of some clouds going by. So this little bit of cloud provided some shade. It's hot out here in Columbus, Ohio. It's hot. Remember I told y'all I live 2 minutes away from the courthouse over there, where they committed all the fraud, right there. You can see it from right here. Since the ops are still working with them. Anyway, I made some beef brats. I seasoned them with some garlic. You know, the little garlic jar you get at Kroger's. Some little garlic and some mesquite seasoning. Added the smoker's cut in them. It's pretty good. I made a Southwest salad. Southwest has really good dressing. And the cheddar cheese, the smoky cheddar cheese, the little crumbs, breadcrumbs in it. So delicious. I added some julienne, Vidalia onions. And then I made a Caesar pasta salad. You know, Betty Crocker out the box. Betty Crocker. It's a Betty Crocker dress. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. My little Caesar's Betty Crocker pasta salad out the box. And I added some onion and garlic to that. You know, it's hot and I need extra onion and garlic. And then I got a sirloin steak this morning. It was a pretty decent sized steak. It was almost 2 pounds. But I cut that square cut in it. Put some square cuts in it, and then I added my mesquite seasoning in there, and then some steak grillers seasoning from McCormick. They have like a 3-in-1 packet for steak. So I added the seasoning in there. And then I took some of that additional garlic and some of the juice from the chopped fine garlic, put that in the steak. And then I layered it with some Vidalia, some thin sliced Vidalia. But I got some Gruyere cheese, and I made some thin slices of that, put that on top of the steak, a decent amount, and then layered it with another layer of onions and some more seasoning, and then I put some more cheese on top of it. And I let it marinate for like 20 minutes. No, it was more like 40 minutes because it set out for like 10 minutes, and then I put it in the refrigerator for like 20, 30 minutes. I let it all marinate, and then I made some beautiful shrimp. It was real good. I gotta show it to you guys. So I came out here on the grill and cooked it down here. You know, gotta at least show it to you. And it's tasty. See that? Doesn't that look good? Nice steak with the Gruyere cheese and the Vidalia onion. So delicious, man. I am telling you what. I cooked it and I let it rest on the grill. Nice size grill we got here, the Charbroil Big Boy. The Big Boy grill. Show you what's happening out here, okay? Doing all right. Now, I would be pescatarian if it wasn't for filet mignon. And there's my shrimp. I got some jumbo shrimp. Simple Truth organic shrimp. Real good and tasty. But I seasoned that with the mesquite. You can see the color is that mesquite color. I did it in the foil because this grill is actually quite amazing. And then there's my brats in there. It's very amazing, honestly. It cooks a little fast, but it has these temperature dials on here, so you know you don't have to. You can go real low or you can go up high to the flame. Look at that torch. Some of y'all need burned. But yeah, so I'm gonna turn this light off here and stuff. But yeah, you know, it was a good time out here. I've been out here sweating. Oh my gosh, look at that sweat spot. I need to get something to drink, but been doing okay out here in the sun. It's America's 250th birthday. Happy birthday, America. America, my home of the brave, you know. Been doing all right though. A couple hours this morning. I got up early and went out. Went to Kroger's. And actually I got a popsicle upstairs. I got the Outshine watermelon tahini popsicles. They are so good. The only thing that could have made it better was a shot of tequila. Okay? If you like that tequila, that smoky tequila. Yeah. But I got one more popsicle left. I got those yesterday, and I've been eating them. And then some neighbors stopped by, and I gave them a popsicle each, too. But I got one more left. I need to go up there and get it, because I do want to sit out here for a little while longer. But I hope y'all are enjoying your 4th. It's just me. I don't have no family and no friends. The organized crime group ran everybody off with the rumors and the falsehoods and the lies. All right, lies. Okay. But you know, your girl all right. She been doing okay because she's strong. She take care of herself. Always. See my horns. Probably be better for me to be out here in a bikini, but since I was out here cooking for the last couple hours and watching TV on my phone, I just didn't go upstairs and change clothes. The only thing I'm gonna do is go back in there in a few minutes and grab something to drink. But for y'all that know Columbus, Ohio, you know we're on the side of downtown. We're real close to German Village. We're right here off of Main Street. Buckeye Nation, aka Boomtown. You could literally see the fireworks right over through here last night. I watched it from my window, of course I could see it. I made a small video. I'll put it online today because last year I did the same thing. On July 3rd, posted some videos when I lived on Parsons. So, but yep, we out at Columbus, Ohio, downtown here. Now over there, this building right here, this glass looking building on the corner, right there, that's the Columbus Commons. That's where they had the 614 festival, movie with the Pops, picnic with the Pops. And there's a real cool carousel over there. It's really nice. You know, there's a little gathering over there right now. And I believe that there is going to be fireworks over here off in the distance later today and a couple of other places. I know Gehenna did their fireworks last night. And I think Westerville and New Albany is doing theirs tonight. So a couple of things here around the city. You know, gosh, it's hot. I'll tell you what, there does need to be ice cream, margarita, something somewhere. Maybe I'll try to go find one here after a couple of hours. But I definitely just wanted to get on here. It's cool. I took a small little, you know, close my eyes in the heat. You know, when it's hot, you just gotta let the sun have its way. And that's what I've been doing, letting the sun have its way. So, you know, independence is different for everyone. It's different for everyone. And I've always been independent, even just because you're married to someone that doesn't make you a dependent. It does in a sense, but it doesn't mean that in a whole sense of dependency that is your life based upon everything. I always did my part, and I was stolen from. People committed fraud in my name. They, had people lie in my name. Then those same people they paid to lie in my name, lie and make false statements, were the same ones that came back and gang stalked me. Everybody who stole my business ideas, the people who did that, the people who worked with Jaffa behind my back, who conspired with Jaffa, you know, they all knew what they were doing because the plan was to always make me look bad, and Jaffa was always okay with that portion of it as long as his hands stayed clean because he had a community to back him up. And as you can see, it doesn't take much to get people to turn their back on you. No matter how long you know them, if that's how they are, that's how they are. I didn't turn my back on anyone. But I went through that. It's not that serious. I mean, it is because I suffered behind it. All the gang stalkers and the fake rumors and the illegal surveillance was really bad because imagine people coming over to visit me on Collingwood. I'm sitting in the back, I'm grilling food, I'm feeding my birds. People are coming over just to say hi. We're sitting around talking, I'm cooking, I'm making my sauces, and there's illegal cameras in my house that I didn't consent to and definitely wouldn't make anybody exposed to that. That makes no sense. And then to go through that on Parsons, we rarely had guests anyway. I think Ferris came over maybe several times, 4 times. His cousins came over twice, the ones from Georgia and South Carolina. They came over like twice because that's when they started traveling in 2025. It just wasn't that serious outside of his cousin Laith that came there at the beginning of April last year. It just wasn't that serious. I mean, I knew people. I knew a ton of people across the city, but it's not like I was in their backyard. I wasn't going to visit them. I wasn't going to have dinner with them. So it was easy for me to just kind of do the same thing in reflection of. Plus, I'm kind of used to that because I've always lived by myself. So it was all good. And I was happy to leave. I put in my 60-day notice close to the end of October when our lease was ending. I just wish I could have spent the last 6 months there by myself. I would have felt a lot more safer in a sense. It didn't matter anyway. I changed the locks like 5 times. Couldn't keep them out. But like I said, all that invasion of privacy and those same people who invaded my privacy, spreaded rumors, and forged my information were the same ones coming back to gang stalk me and ruin my life. They had enough pull though. They knew that they could gang stalk me enough because they were backed up by a bunch of elites and people with social media contracts and everything else. They knew they were backed up by the powers that be at the Franklin County Municipal Courthouse. So of course they went hard. They didn't have a reason not to. Plus they had access to my house because Jaffa gave them to them. I never gave anybody access to my house. I mean, they had to do something to manipulate conversations and break in the house and act like they were talking with me and dealing with me, stealing my clothes, just so that they could act like they were me somewhere else. Like I said, it wasn't conducive to any way that I lived. Plus, for Jaffa to be married to me for less than 2 years and get his citizenship and move a bunch of property, move a bunch of money, move money in my name. And, these girls were gang stalking, talking about how they stole money in 2024 and all of this, and how Jaffa was working with them all through 2024 to commit these digital crimes and do things out of deception to completely put me in harm's way because the deal was they were supposed to get rid of me. And lots of people knew it all over South Columbus. Multiple people at those stores knew it because they were trusting those white girls. They trusted those white girls. They believed what they said bad about me. I mean, here I am. I'm just a black woman. Most of us are looked down upon anyway. That's the standard in America. We know, especially because look at what I went through and how I lived. But then how I was treated was totally the opposite. I mean, I can think about me working in property management 10 years, and how many times I work with investigators who came to the property looking for people, SWAT busting in people's doors, the police come into the property, sheriffs come into the property. All these years I've assisted them, years when I was a security officer, always work with the cops, the fire department, anybody that needed anything, because you got to file a ton of incident reports for car break-ins, for people arguing with their coworkers or whatever on property. It's just a thousand reasons from Sunday, 20 years that I worked in property management and customer service. And you think that with all the help that I provided through those years and assistance that I gave, when people in this city needed help, especially the cops when they came on property, you would think some of that would have been returned, but it was not. So a lot of people talk about karma, right? And people will basically say you get what you give in this world. I don't get much of that back. I don't look for it. Not that it's not there and I would not receive it. And people will say, well, it comes back in many different ways. Well, that's okay too, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I still did my job and I still did what I was supposed to do. And I was working that way. I lived that way. So when things started to happen to me, especially as an African American woman, I really did expect that help. I really thought that the system was going to at least follow up and investigate my claims, but it didn't matter. Their decisions were already made by the time I started talking about my identity being stolen, filing my first police report about my documents being stolen from the home, and talking to the police about that. It didn't matter. The damage was already done. And I'm constantly fighting a losing battle with the fraud. I was always talking with my friends and family every other day of the week for my whole entire life. Talking to my friends and family, somebody. I wasn't like always overly talking. I might have had 2 or 3 friends we'd spend hours talking to. Everybody has at least that, right? But, we spend hours talking, maybe talk to each other on the weekends, or some family throughout the week, some just on the weekends, just because kids in school. Plus, I gotta have a whole bunch of siblings in the country. So it wasn't like everybody had to talk every day. Plus, there was multiple group chats between the family members. The younger people, the siblings and the younger people. My mom was in a couple of the group chats. But we always kept in constant communication. And who knew that all of that was unraveling in 2024? Because they were Facebooking my family members. The ops was Facebooking my family members, and they were working with my family members to stab me in the back to keep things going. But like I said, I didn't do anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. There's no reason for me to do anything wrong. Yeah, I made, mistakes speeding. But I've been doing that for 20-some years. And August 3rd or 4th will be 2 years that I have not received any tickets. I'm in a 2-year stretch. Now, 4th of July 2024, I got that speeding ticket, but I'm almost in a 2-year stretch and not getting a speeding ticket or a ticket. Okay. So I'm on kind of a roll here. Butter me up. But some things still remain the same, and none of that has really changed. None of that has really changed. And like I said, and I've already said it many times, but I also have put it on my YouTube channel and my LinkedIn channel. The side y'all chose, just stay over there. It's not going to change anything about my citizenship. I made that decision. If people can run around and forge documents in my name, get lawyers to commit unethical crimes, organized crime, forge my signature, have bank accounts in my name, have properties in my name, and I know nothing about it, there's no point in me continuing on with my social security number, date of birth, and name here. If I can't use the tools and the resources that should have been available to me for being a victim of identity fraud, forgery, bank fraud, real estate fraud, gang stalking, cyber stalking, digital crimes, social media crimes, And these are the tools that they use to gang stalk me, to get the system to ignore me, to get the police officers to ignore every police report that I filed, to, have a judge be biased from the time that I actually met him on July 10th all the way through December 1st, where the decision was made to use whiteout on my divorce decree. Like, if I ever even had these connections, I never would have misused people that I knew like that. I knew people who were prominent across the city, and I never used them. I never went after their family, their pets, damaged their property. It was all mischief, and that all is a lie, and there's no real proof behind it. You can AI generate something, I'm sure, but there's no proof behind it. And I can validate the relationships that I've been in because I know who they were. I also have pictures in my phone of people that I were with. So I don't know what lies y'all have completely made up to get y'all way, but I know those lies were not presented to me in a court of law. Those lies were not presented to me on paper with anyone. And Jaffa knows I never had an affair on him. There's no proof of that. I never had an affair on him. He was always in the background, stabbing me in the back, having affairs. And every time I approached him about it early last year, he laughed in my face about it. He laughed in my face, other than telling me, his family didn't want me to be with him anymore. They wanted him to be with somebody else. I acknowledged 2 girls that were pregnant by him, some Mexican girl, a black girl, and a white girl from the north side, who was telling her friends down in South Columbus about her and Jaffa's relationship. She also was telling her friends in South Columbus that she was the one communicating with people at my job, my former job. So she was the one, but because she was a white girl, she got, people kept her secrets. People kept her and Jaffa's secrets. I saw her. She followed me to Ross in Dublin back in January, February. She followed me to Ross. And after I was doing some shopping, she came walking into the store. I went out there to Dublin to get my oil change done. And they all been GPS tracking me to make sure that everywhere I go, they go and tell people that I'm a liar, I'm a thief, I'm a hoe, um, I'm a criminal. The same thing that the girl was doing at the casino. Jaffa, when he worked with his organized crime group, and multiple people work together now, because like I said, it was both of my former companies that had their employees that were working with them in the background, just spread egregious rumors anywhere I went. It didn't matter if it was Moo Moo, car wash, Kroger's, the grocery store, just any of the corner stores I went to buy my lottery tickets and so forth. It didn't matter what it was. They had somebody there to make sure it was sabotaged. They laughed about how they sabotaged me and my landlord. They sabotaged my landlords to work against me too in the past. So, this is really how organized crime work. You get 100 people to say the same thing. You get 50 people to tell a lie. You get 30 people to write a statement. But that information never actually reaches the person that's the victim in the situation, except for the harm behind it, the danger behind it, the attacks behind it. My pets died. My plants were poisoned. My pets died. My clothes were stolen. My jewelry was stolen. I mean, I donated some stuff to the thrift store, but there were other items that definitely were stolen. Breaking in my house, poisoning my food, things that I would never ever do to a person. Yeah, I know it exists. I know a lot of stories of pain people have went through. Working in the customer service field, people tend to trust a person like me and they talk with me. I've heard a lot of stories from across this whole world with people who've relocated here internationally or just domestically, and we end up having a good conversation, a heart-to-heart conversation, a conversation with some meat on the bones. And I would never repeat it. That's the person I've been my whole life. That's not something I figured out. Some people will go, oh, well, you deserve that, you deserve that. No, no, no. Nobody ever deserves to be attacked. Nobody, nobody ever deserves to be a victim. Listen to how you sound. Listen to how you sound. There was no justification for any way that Jaffa did the way he did things behind my back. There was no justification for it. I never did that to his family. I never did that to his friends. I never took anything from him. I never took anything from his family. I never called a single job he was working on anytime he was on the road and said, don't give him that delivery and make up stories about him. Don't, when he get there, don't let him have that load for his truck. I never called Barakat. This was all a group that he worked with that I suffered extremely from. From the time I turned 40 to 43 now, him in the organized crime group, because it was so many of them. And the girl in the black Honda that was working at the casino, she was the worst. She was one of the worst people in the world. And nothing I said was investigated. Nothing. Nothing. My email's been hacked so many times for so long. This phone that I'm talking on is mirrored. The ops can see this conversation. They hacked the YouTube channel. They push stupid things in my algorithm. And I said this last year in April because I kind of noticed between December and January that I was getting a lot of weird stuff in my YouTube feed, but it was like the same things that kept going on and on and on. And it was just all so bad. Jaffa signed my name up to a lot of social media stuff that I never signed my name up for. I never knew anybody that worked at YouTube. I didn't know anybody that worked at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But they did because they had the right to create those fake social media profiles and allow the algorithm to take the fake profiles very, very far. Stuff that didn't have anything to do with me. They hacked my phone so they were able to get pictures on my phone. They gawked about that and how Jaffa sent them pictures of me as well. Pictures that I sent him. But I'm a black woman. I'm an African American, so my word doesn't mean anything. It's already a stereotype in there. And I don't mean that to say like, oh, there's just like, white people or whatever, Caucasian people that were coming up against me. It was black people too. A lot of black people believe in the stereotype just as much as anybody else does across the world. I'm saying that I was stereotyped and treated stereotypically does not absolve African Americans. It was men and women. Most of them at the courthouse are black, and they were the ones committing the fraud at the courthouse and working with each other in the group to make sure that things get done. I mean, I've had my mail stolen for 4 months. 4 months from the address where I live at now. My lease started in the middle of December, and I forwarded my mail a couple days after January started this year. I'd already had my ID, and when I forwarded my mail, I started getting pieces of mail here, but then within 2-3 weeks of me actually updating my mail on my ID, updating my new address on my ID and at the post office, I started getting mail from both the casinos here, the Hollywood Casino and the El Dorado Casino, when I never updated my mailing address with them. And both places say, well, you have to be here in person to update that. Well, I haven't been here since September, October. I had no reason to come here. For one, I couldn't afford it. The little $200 or $300 that I normally take up there, that was not something I could afford. I could afford me and my pets. I paid my credit cards down. Obviously, it was wintertime, so you got to keep a few extra bucks if something happened to your car. So, different things like that. Plus, I knew I had to move. I'd already put in my 60-day notice. So there was no reason for them to have my new address, but they did because of the person impersonating me did that. I'm sure that information got hidden as well, because even though I went up there to discuss the fraud and gang stalking that I was going through and let them know their connection up there as well, nothing was done. And then me going to the post office and forwarding my mail, then going down there to verify my identity that I did move from Parsons to Main Street here back in January. Went down there and did that. That changed immediately. Like maybe by the end of February, I would say end of February, mid-February, end of February, I stopped getting mail here at my address. And when I noticed it, I filed 2 complaints with the post office. And I put in the complaint that, of course, this has something to do with my ex-husband in an organized crime group, Jaffa's group that he was working with. But also I filed a police report. I had already filed 2 about them breaking into my house. And then I filed a 3rd police report about them, more of my clothes missing, documents missing out of my home. Plus I went down there to the police station twice and updated those reports because 2 times the officers came here. The third time they said the officers got to come out. And I said, listen, this is where I work. I don't need officers to keep coming out here. It's very embarrassing. And I said, is it okay if I come down to the police station? They said, yeah. So I went down to the police station and spoke with the officer, and he gave me a card, of course, with the number on it. But nothing has changed about the stolen mail, the rerouted mail. Just like I said, when I went down there on Tuesday, they acted like, oh, well, you just need to forward your mail from your old address. I've already done that. I'm not going to be repetitive with y'all. I'm not a dog to be chasing y'all. I already updated my address. That's why my utility bills come here. That's why my lease is here. That's why it's on my ID. Let me see. Ooh, it's hot. Live close to a police station, not just the courthouse. And the fire station, too. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, everything was changed appropriately. It's been like that way for a while. And I already digitally changed my address with my credit cards. That was easy to do because obviously when you swipe your credit card, you got to put in your zip code, to get through some things. So I'd already done all that. I was always responsible. There was no reason for me never not to be. Doesn't mean I didn't get pulled over 80 times. It just means I was responsible when I got those tickets. But it's hot. I've been talking long enough out here. What is this, 20-something minute maybe? Yeah, it's over 30 minutes. And I'm hot. I got a little bit more time to be out here, and then I'm going to go inside. Gosh, I'm soaking wet in my back, But I would say, by now, the ops have gotten everything that they wanted, whoever they used to impersonate me. However, they had illegal devices recording my voice in my home on Parsons. And over here, they were able to get what they wanted through manipulation. So when I end my citizenship, it's just really going to suffice for me. I don't have a problem doing it, but I know that this is the way that it's going to have to turn things around, at least for me to finish this up, because I can't see myself being a citizen here and people putting bank accounts in your name, property in your name, all types of evil stuff and negative stuff in your name, and you have to be the one to deal with it, and not a single person reached out. I understand people go through this, but they also get the justice behind it. Sometimes it's tough, but in my position, I was a complete victim, and I got no legal support. I got no support from the police. I was looked down upon and frowned upon, and then gang stalked everywhere I went for support. I didn't reach out to family for support. I did not. I had already blocked everybody. So I just needed the legal authorities to support me. The Immigration Bureau, the emails that I sent, the Attorney General, the Columbus Police Department, the Franklin County Municipal Court, I actually needed them to do their job and make sure justice was being served and that I could have had a fair divorce outcome. I didn't receive any of that. Everything was being held back so that these people could gang stalk me to the end, attack me and my pets and everything to the end. And because they still got their way, they were able to get away with stealing a lot of stuff in my name. When I sat back and struggled, if I had that kind of money that they moved in my name, hundreds of thousands of dollars in properties, then why am I still paying a $2,000 student loan that I've been paying on since 2011? Why am I still paying the second student loan that's maybe $4,400 that I've been paying since 2011? If I had that kind of money, I would have just paid off my student loan instead of continuously paying it. Yes, I pay my bills. Don't get me wrong. They paid on time. They're always paid on time. It's always been like that my whole life. I take care of me, and my Chase Bank is proof that I do that. But why wouldn't I have not paid off my student loan? I didn't have the funds to fix my car. So when I got a loan last year for $12,000 last year in August, September, I paid down my credit cards and I took $1,500 to actually get the painting of the passenger side of the car done And then 2 weeks later, I took my car back to Tony so that he could finish the hood of the car. And I paid him $200 for that. Now, I didn't have access to my car from September 25th until October 11th. And I was very suspicious about my car being up there on 104 at that time, because eventually, after still being friends with Tony and him kind of breaking down, telling me that the ops was paying him basically to lie in front. I mean, I didn't have my car for 2 weeks, and that was kind of, it really made me think, what did you do with my car? Like, I know my hood is painted, and previously we had that agreement and stuff, but it really, really made me question from September 25th to October 11th when I picked my car up, what possibly could have happened. Because if he was working with the ops, not if he was working with the ops, that means he had my property, and anything could have happened. Anything could have been at risk, which is not a good situation for me because, if somebody has the keys to your car, like they didn't have the key to my house, of course, but they had the key to my car, that means anything could have happened, for real, for real. Anything. And I was subject to it, which is not great. I was subject to whatever might have happened between September 25th last year, 2025, through October 11th, 2026. But once I got my car back, though, I did clean it really good. Like, I took some Dawn and, my little Lowe's bucket and some soap, and I spent some time in the garage cleaning my car out. I'd already took it to him clean, but I didn't have a great feeling after that, because there was a lot of impersonation, and the ops was paying thousands of dollars. The black girl that was in the courtroom on July 10th, there was one black girl in there besides me, Jaffa, the unethical lawyer, and the judge that's not noble, and the heavier set court clerk. There was one black girl sitting on the right side of the courtroom towards the doors. She was the one that was up there in September. She was driving a Dodge, and she was the one working with Tony. She had these, I don't know, to me they look like twisty dreads, like curly fries a little bit. And I'd already saw her July, saw her in August, saw her in September. I think I saw her again once before, early October. And other than that, she must have been in real good stealth mode. But she was following me around too for 4 months, gang stalking me. I never saw her again at court, but I definitely saw her on July 10th. And I asked the judge, why was she in the courtroom? Crickets. Who knew why she was in there? But that's another one of Jaffa's organized crime groupies, falsely looking at me. I don't look like that. I don't get it. Y'all don't look like me at all. I don't look like y'all. I have my own unique look, and we all really do, truly. But I don't have a plain Jane face, so to speak. I guess anybody can fake it till you make it. And that's exactly what they were doing. But yeah, since the justice was not given, this is my way to justify what I'm going to do by ending this citizenship. I'll be downloading the papers next week and making that payment, a partial payment if I can make a partial payment, and then make another other half of that payment. And I'll put down the reasons why I'm ending the citizenship, because I have to go through that process. But I definitely want to get it started next week. I'm satisfied. No matter what, I lived a good life here. I enjoyed it here, but I'm not going to live this next year with y'all living fraud and then y'all getting everything y'all want and then still harassing me behind it because you were able to do it and able to pull strings in the system. The only reason why I didn't get support is because I'm African American. Everything I said was reality, truthful, and close enough to the time frame to where I was experiencing things that should have mattered the most, but nothing was done. Happy 4th of July. Be independent without being dependent.